Your Osmo Nano can look amazing if you change these 10 key settings. A few of them are tucked away, but once you know them, your footage will look instantly more professional. Let's start with the one most people miss, and it's going to fix that cheap, over-processed digital look. Tap on the little sliders on the right of the screen, and this is going to bring up this menu. What I'm going to show you also works in Pro mode. Tap Image Adjustment, and you're going to get settings for texture and noise reduction. I don't know why they've named texture as texture, and whereas it used to be in previous products sharpness, but you can think of it as kind of the same thing. By default, these are both set to 0. What you might find is with these things set to 0, things look a little bit over-processed, a little bit digital, and sometimes they might make the face look a bit plasticky. What I would recommend is starting with -1 for both of these settings, and then tick the little tick box to save them. And if you scroll down now, you can see at the bottom we've got -1, -1. Now you might want to go as far as -2 for texture and -2 for noise reduction if you're willing to do a bit of noise reduction in post, maybe when you're editing, but definitely try -1 and -2 and see how you like the footage. If you're after the absolute best quality for your Osmo Nano, slide down from the top, tap the little nut icon to go to settings, and then scroll down here until you see this bitrate setting. You can see at the minute I've changed this to high, but by default this is set to standard. This is going to produce at standard levels a smaller file size, but it's not going to give you as much data in that video file. So if you want the absolute best quality, change this to high. Do you really want to make your Nano footage look more professional? Then you're probably going to want to switch over to the Pro mode. To do that, tap these little sliders on the right and then tap on the Pro button at the top right to enable Pro mode. And this is going to give you access to loads of settings. The first setting we're going to look at in this Pro mode is the exposure setting. I'm going to tap on exposure and it's going to bring up this screen, which can look a bit overwhelming at first. You can see in this screen we can choose between two main modes. We've got auto mode, which it's set to at the minute, and if you tap on this M, it's going to switch over to manual mode. Manual mode gives you maximum control over how the Nano is going to represent the bright or dark parts of your image and basically adjust the overall brightness of what you're recording. When we're setting the exposure, we can change two main things. On the left here is the shutter speed. If you increase this, so to make a faster shutter speed, everything's going to go dark, and if you change to a slower shutter speed, you should see things getting brighter. The second thing you can adjust with exposure is the ISO, and that's really how sensitive the sensor is. So at the minute you can see this is set to ISO 100, and if I increase this, things get brighter and brighter and brighter until eventually everything looks really white and overexposed. And if you're wondering a rough gauge of whether it's correctly exposed or not, you can see at the top left you've got this EV value. Currently it's about plus 0.7, so we're about 0.7 stops overexposed. So you can either adjust the shutter speed. Let's try and get about 1/50th. Now we're negative 0.3, so you might want to increase your ISO. Unfortunately, the ISO doesn't give us fine grain control in third stop increments, so you might have to massage the ISO and the shutter speed to get the exact look you want. There is a little caveat here though. If you scroll up through the ISOs, instead of a fixed ISO, you get these ranges. Now the camera is going to automatically choose an ISO between 100 and 800, and it's going to keep this shutter speed constant. And you've probably heard this over and over again on YouTube. Your shutter speed should be roughly double whatever frame rate you're shooting in. So for 24 frames a second, ideally that would be 1/48th of a second for your shutter speed, but in reality this is going to be 1/50th. That's the closest we can get. Now the camera is automatically going to choose between 100 and 800, and you can see the EV value at the top is now 0.0, so that means you've got the quote perfect exposure, at least according to the Osmo Nano. The main benefit of using manual exposure is you have more control, and if you're going between lighter and darker areas and you don't want that kind of flickering sensation that you can sometimes get with auto exposure, then this is the way to go. Of course, if you are filming in crazy bright and crazy dark situations, you might want to use automatic exposure still, just so you don't have to constantly change your shutter speed and ISO. tap the little tick box to lock in those manual exposure settings. The fourth setting you're really going to want to take control of if you want pro looking results is the white balance. And white balance is how the camera sets the white point, and if you're in different lighting conditions, they have different color temperatures, which basically means that if you set this wrong, your colors are going to look a bit weird right from the start. For example, sunlight is about 5500 Kelvin. Kelvin's just what we measure color temperature in. You can see at the top right here we've got WB, that stands for white balance, and currently it's set to AWB, which means automatic white balance. If I tap on this, you've got two options, manual and automatic. Automatic white balance will automatically change the white balance as the camera is looking around or going between different sources of lighting. So if you're going from outside in sunlight to inside maybe with fluorescent lights, it's going to automatically try its best to set the correct white balance. But this does mean it's changing all the time. So if you are planning to do color grading on the footage that you record, you really don't want that white balance shifting around. It basically makes color grading almost impossible, or at least very difficult and time consuming. Auto white balance, you can see it's kind of sensing that the white balance in the studio at the minute is 5580 Kelvin, something like that. And that's about right because all of these lights in the studio are set to 5500 Kelvin. But if I tap on M at the top, we get to lock in and fix that white balance setting. So if I scroll down, you can see that the image is changing, looking very blue now. And if I scroll up, the image is going to gradually look warmer. And if we go all the way up, you can see it's kind of looking a bit orange and a bit yellow. That's because the color temperature in the camera doesn't match the color temperature of the lighting. So I'm going to set this to about 5500 Kelvin. Once you've chosen that value, tap the little tick box, and now in the white balance, you get that fixed Kelvin value. And now your colors are not going to be fluctuating all the time. Now you've got your white balance and your exposure locked in for that professional looking result. You're going to want to make sure the colors in your video files are recorded with as much data as possible. To change this, tap on the color button at the bottom right of these pro settings, and you've got three choices. You've got the normal 8-bit, and this is going to record colors using 8 bits of data, which means you're not going to get as much color data in your video file, which can make things look a bit strange. Like a blue sky, you might see bands rather than nice gradual blues. So at a minimum, you're probably going to want to change this to normal 10-bit. That's going to include more color data. It's going to mean the colors are going to be more accurately represented in terms of transitions, and it's just going to make your overall video footage look better. But you can go one step further. For truly pro level results, you're going to want to change this to D-Log-M 10-bit. Now this will mean you will need to do a little bit of color grading when you edit your video. You can just use a LUT to get that D-Log-M footage back to normal looking footage, but this is really intended for people that want to do a bit of color grading, get the maximum dynamic range possible. So it's going to record a kind of flat, washed out looking image, but you can bring that back when you edit your video in color grading to try and capture the most detail in your Nano videos. Tap the tick button to lock D-Log-M in. The next setting is not in these pro level settings, it's actually in your filming settings. So regardless of if you're using pro mode or not, you can change this setting. Slide up from the bottom, and this is where you get to choose your resolution and frame rates. But there's another little button at the top right, and if you tap this, it's going to give you the choice of digital stabilization in your Osmo Nano. You've got a few different choices here. You've got off, which is basically no stabilization. You've got rock steady, and this is going to stabilize the footage, but it's going to let you rock from side to side. And then you've got this really useful setting, horizon balance. Horizon balance will attempt to keep the horizon level regardless of which way you tilt your Osmo Nano. And I think this is up to 30 degrees either way. So you can twist your camera 30 degrees either way, but your horizon will stay level. And this is important to know about for certain situations. If you're holding your Nano out in front of you vlogging, you're probably not going to want everything shifting over left and right. that's a great use for this horizon balance mode. Also, if you're doing reveal shots where you're bringing the Nano up from behind an object, you're probably going to want that horizon to stay level as well. Maybe you're fitting your Nano to a car and you're filming through the windscreen or on the front of the car. In that case, you're probably also going to want that horizon to stay level as the car's moving around left and right, and maybe tilting a bit left and right. And notice that when you choose some of these options, you also get different options for the field of view, or how much you can fit in. If you switch this to horizon balance, you only get one setting. That's the standard D-warp setting. Number 7 will depend on the kind of thing you're filming, but this is the pre-record option. To access this, slide up from the bottom and then tap on the top left. It's this little camera icon. This is going to give you access to the modes. You've got video mode, pre-record mode, and loop record mode. In this video, we're just talking about this pre-record mode option. What this is going to do is it's going to automatically pre-record a bit of video before you press the shutter button. So effectively what this means is at the time you press the shutter button, it's going to go back in time and record before you press that shutter button. So you can choose a pre-record duration. You can go 5, 10, 15 seconds, all the way up to 5 minutes. And this is really useful, for example, if you're shooting highly dynamic things, you're not really sure what's going to happen when, but you don't want the camera recording the whole time. You can just wait for something to happen and then press the record button, and you'll know you've got that pre-record buffer. Alternatively, just get a big SD card and record constantly. Number 8 we've already touched on, and that's this idea of the angle or field of view. Slide up from the bottom and then tap the top right. The angle of view will depend on the stabilization setting. So with Rocksteady, you get 3 different angles of view. You've got standard, and this is the D-warp setting, and you can see at the bottom here, it's telling us this is about a 15mm equivalent on a full frame camera lens, so pretty wide still. The D-warp setting is great if you're filming yourself or things that you want not to look too distorted by that wide angle look. You can of course set this to wide. This is about a 13mm setting or equivalent. This gives you nice wide angle for landscapes, and then you've also got ultra wide, which is going to cause a bit of that weird bubble looking distortion to the image, but this can be great if you're doing point of view things, maybe strapping it to your chest and filming your hands doing something. It's going to fit a lot more detail or a lot more width in. All right, on to number 9, and this is a great time saving or workflow feature that pros will be using, and that's to, once you've set up your settings for a certain style of shooting, say vlogging or cinematic landscapes, once you've set those settings up, in our case, let's choose 4K 16:9, 24 frames a second, standard D-warp, horizon balance. We're also still in pro mode. We've got manual exposure and the white balance D-Log M. What you can do is save that as a custom filming preset. To do that, slide down from the top, and then on the top left, tap this little person with the plus. By default, you won't have any custom presets. Tap the plus button to add a custom preset, and then tap confirm. Now at the bottom left, if you tap this button, you'll see that you've got all of the default modes of shooting with your Osmo Nano, but if you slide all the way across to the left, we've now got this one, and that's our custom setup that we just added. If I go and change something here, let's change this to 60 frames a second, 1080p. We can quickly get back to those settings by tapping the bottom left, scrolling across, tapping 1, and now we're straight back to 24 frames a second horizon balance. And you can set up multiple of these for different shooting modes. This is going to be a massive time saver when you're filming. And the final thing is going to allow you to use this camera more efficiently and so get more professional looking results because you're not missing things, and that's to customize the buttons. To customize these, slide down from the top and tap on this icon to access the custom buttons. You can see you can customize the camera button and the vision dock button. Choose one of these to customize. For the camera button, you can customize what happens when you single press that button. It's going to take a photo with the last settings, but you can maybe choose to record video or hyperlapse. And now even if the camera's off, you can single press that button to start recording video. You can also double press the camera button, and notice here now we get the different modes, but we also get that custom mode that we just added. So if you want to, you can set that, and now every time you double press the camera button, it's going to automatically change to that custom function setting 1 that we created and then start filming, which is a super cool time-saving tip. You can of course also go back and customize the multi-function dock. The double press, you can switch between modes, start and pre-recording or set auto recording, and change the shooting mode. The great thing is we've got so much control with the Osmo Nano, plus those time-saving features of custom setups and custom buttons. Combined with all of the other things we've talked about in this video, it's going to let you get pro-level results with your Osmo Nano. Keep learning more about your Osmo Nano by watching this video next. I'm Jason Roberts. Please subscribe for more Nano content, and I'll see you in the next one.